we've got to raise the bar, and we've got to continue to raise the bar. I don't think any of those young men, when they signed to come to Tennessee, they signed to say they wanted to come and be a part of a 7-6 program. They said they wanted to come and compete for championships, SEC championships, national championships. I know that's what I want. I know that's what Tennessee wants. I know that's what the expectation is. So we've got to continue to reassess everything that we're doing and make sure that we're continuing to move the needle in the right direction.
Pardon me and my tone. You can't step to my throne. They ain't working like me. I did this on my own. You asking where we been, huh? I don't know where to begin, huh? All this dirt on my skin. I just came here to win. I'm more than a man, I'm a monster. Somebody call a pastor, doctor. I got a 6 sense for imposters. So now I'm coming for the whole roster. It's not a game, why you playing with me? You could double back, lose track, try and hang with me. It must be in my veins, something you can't tame, cause I break the chains. Can't control me. I got the power, I got the keys, cause I break the chains. They try to hold me, I'ma push back, just wait and you'll see.
There on the field, the pride of the Southland band crisply marches into the Giant T. The rear, the roar of 97,000 fans rises with each rhythmic step. In the background, George Beatsis is singing Fight, Balls, Fight. The orange and white Shakers flood the air. The Volunteers are ready at the north end of the football field to burst through the gate. They're coming now, racing onto the field through the Giant T. In that magic moment that says, wherever you are, it's football time in Tennessee.
Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley.
I'm Dauber.
I'm VAWLS JP. What's up?
We didn't talk about that before. We had the old band is back together. we hadn't done this rotation in a minute. Look, it's we're a little over 2 weeks away from fall camp kicking off. I think they report at the last day of July, and then fall camp kicks off August the 1st. And it is right around the corner from kicking off football season. So I thought we would go ahead and break out the season preview. Somebody said, Boogie, stop talking about recruiting. I need to know about this football team. Why don't you make yourself like Athlon Sports and you guys get on here and tell us about this football team? So we're going to break it into 2 live streams. We're going to do offense tonight. We're going to go about an hour, whatever you guys want. Hour and a half. We'll see how it plays out. We'll be back next Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, breaking down the defense. So we're going to talk about the offense, but let's run down the chat. Let's see who is hanging out, what's going down. Southern Life is in the house talking about JP singing the Talkin VAWLS theme song. When we beat Alabama this year, hope you're right. Lucas's Rad Dad Videos is in the house. Jordan Culbertson becomes a member of the channel. He's not just a member, he is an elite member. He is committed to paying $10 a month through this channel. We appreciate that financial support. You can join the channel, hit that join button down below. We would appreciate it. Short Fuse is in the house. Jerry Davidson hanging out says, if our coach could just learn how to recruit. Yeah, crazy how that happens, right? He can't recruit, boys. He cannot recruit. Clifton Flynn is in the house. Buck Buchanan's here throwing those mustard bottles and golf balls, everything else. Caleb Watson is here feeling 13-0. John Hill drops a super chat, $12.34. I don't know what that's. What's the meaning of this, John? What's the meaning of this, John? We appreciate the super chat. This year's offense is going to be exciting. In 2 years, the defense, we lose a ton, will be as well. Let's go Big Orange. A lot of concerns on defense. We'll get into that next week. But, boys, let's talk about the offense. Year 2 of the Josh Heupel era. What an exciting year it was last year. But this thing, obviously it all starts with the quarterback position. Heisman Trophy campaign. Let's get it. Let's talk about Hendon Hooker.
This team comes and goes with Hooker. After the way he ended the season, coming through 4 games in, and just went on a tear. You hope he keeps that momentum. And I really think that once he got the reins of the offense, this team found their identity. They were able to start going. They were clicking. Because of his play, I think you had the emergence of Cedric Tillman. If we can get some guys to show out on the offensive line, I'm sure JP will talk about that here after a while. If we can get some improved play on the offensive line, particularly pass blocking, I think that Hooker can have a stellar year.
JP,
Yeah,
what
I
I was going to say, what are you looking for from Hendon Hooker in year 2? Do you think the offense expands any? You think we see a little bit more maybe quarterback design runs? I think we just scratched the surface last year. And like Dauber just touched on there, year 2 in this system, we're going to ride or die with Hendon Hooker. Do you think we see a little bit more of what Josh Heupel has to offer?
I definitely do. I think that you'll see more design runs with Hooker. I mean, thinking back on it, Hooker committed to Pruitt. So I mean, he didn't run this type of offense at Virginia Tech or anything like that. And then the fact that he spent all of fall camp pretty much running second team to Milton. So I think that it's absolutely huge that that we're finally going into a season feeling confident with first string quarterback for sure. And everybody knows that Hendon Hooker is quarterback of this football team. There's no question about it. He's certainly not having to look over his shoulder. Seems to be just a tremendous individual, a leader. I think this football team is certainly going to follow him, and he is going to provide some great leadership for a lot of these younger kids, especially some of these wide receivers that are going to have to step up and take over some of the production that Tennessee is losing this year. But I mean, there's no doubt about it. I certainly agree with Dauber. This football season and this football team will go as far as Hooker can take them for sure.
Give a shout out to Charles Kaufman for becoming a member of the channel. Man, I'm not working today. I'm struggling to get words out today for some reason. Appreciate Charles Kaufman for joining the channel. You can do that below. Guys, show him what he's won. Show Charles what he has won by becoming a member of the channel. You get access to custom Talkin' VAWLS emojis. You also get access to fan call-in shows, all kinds of fun perks below. Show him what he's won in the chat, guys. EPC drops a $2 super chat, says, who goes in if Hooker goes down, Milton or Jackson? Something I've talked a lot about. There's no question, right? It's going to be Milton is QB2, and if you want to take it a step further, Dauber, do you agree or disagree going into 2023, Joe Milton's going to be right in the middle of that quarterback competition. It is going to be a big-time competition between Joe Milton, Taven Jackson, and Nico Iamaleava.
Yeah, I completely agree. He's definitely got the leg up because he is a known factor. He's played in games. They know what they've got with him. I've seen a couple things where he's actually made some strides. So, it's one of those things. I think he's got the leg up. He's QB2. But, yeah, heading into next year, it's going to be fun to have a little bit of a competition and see who pushes who to be the best.
What do you guys think about a Heisman Trophy campaign? A lot of times when I talk about that, some people get mad, say it's crazy, say that there's no way that Hendon Hooker is going to be in contention for the Heisman Trophy. But when you look at the numbers that he puts up, he is clearly the most valuable player on this football team. It's PlayStation-type numbers, his efficiency, but not just – he's more than efficient. He's dynamic. And you take Hendon Hooker away, all of a sudden our thought process going into 2022 would be so much different. If Joe Milton was our quarterback, we would be so concerned about that quarterback position. What are we going to get from him? That's not the case with Hendon Hooker. He's got to stay healthy. But, JP, if they were going to legitimately put together a Heisman Trophy campaign, and I'm still – there's no reason to not. They should be talking about it now. They should be promoting it. All it's going to do is help in the world of recruiting just to see Hendon Hooker for Heisman. What do they need to do as a program to make it happen? Is it going to take 10 wins just to get him to New York? I'm not even talking about hoisting the trophy. I'm talking about getting him to the ceremony. You think 10 wins? What would you need to see from Hooker, different from last year to this year, to have a legitimate Heisman Trophy campaign?
Well, I mean, as far as stats go, I mean, I think he threw for almost 3,000 yards, 31 touchdowns, three interceptions. So, I mean, if he could find a way to, get to 38, 40 touchdowns, not hopefully doesn't throw, many more interceptions than three. But as far as being invited to New York for the Heisman Trophy in December, Tennessee as a team, in my opinion, would have to go at minimum 10-2, and he would have to pull off a big upset either against
Georgia.
Bama or Georgia. Yeah, and just absolutely be the player that leads the Tennessee to one of those upsets.
See a lot of national talking heads picking Tennessee to upset Georgia and Alabama. I just don't see it. And when I see that stuff, I think it's clickbait because they know Tennessee fans are going to buy it on it. But if you had one of those national analysts and they had to put their life savings on it, are they betting on Tennessee to win that game? Absolutely no way. No way.
That's we talked a lot last year preseason, just like we're talking right now, about the way the schedule set up for Tennessee. Because I think Bama was coming off the Georgia game. Georgia was coming off somebody, tough games, and then playing Tennessee. And neither one of those worked out too well. So, it's one of those things. I think we've talked about it on here before. The depth is the difference between where Tennessee is right now and teams like Georgia and Alabama. There's such a drop-off between your ones and twos and threes between teams that are way up here and teams that are trying to get there.
Yep. No, I completely agree with that, Dauber. And that's what's so important about keeping up these recruiting classes and stacking, top 10 classes on top of each other is being able to get that depth, because that's where the difference is. I mean, yes, I mean they got better overall talent, but when they have to sub out or somebody gets injured, you got the Georgias and the Bamas. There's not much of a drop off as you see it. That Tennessee's been dealing with over the last several years.
Guys, we got almost 200 people watching live on this Wednesday night in the middle of July. Guys, think back to when we first started doing live. Can you imagine if we said we're going to do a live stream in July and there were 200 people watching? We appreciate you guys tuning in, even though it is the middle of summer. Things are going to kick up here in a few weeks. We're going to be ramping up the coverage, going live 4 nights a week. Now, that may look different. One night it may be me and Dauber, maybe the three of us and Snake, might have Xavier and Tim on here. Joel, Elijah may jump on here. It's going to be a rotating cast, but we're doing it 4 nights a week once we get into the season. So make sure you guys subscribe, but smash that thumbs up for me. We got almost 200 people watching. If you would hit that share button, send it out to Twitter, Facebook, let somebody know that Talkin' VAWLS is live. We would greatly appreciate it. Billy H with a $10 super chat. Thank you, Billy. Appreciate the tip in the old tip jar. He just says, go big orange. Appreciate that, Billy. Thank you for that super chat. Let me get the leaderboard up here. Let me add the leaderboard back up. Recognize the big contributors. Look at that all-time single donation. James Moody dropping $200 in a single super chat. We appreciate that. Today's current live stream, John Hill with 1234. Appreciate the support. Let's talk about the running back room. You guys talking about depth a little bit earlier. And when you say depth, my mind goes to defense immediately. But tonight's on offense. I got to stay focused. I got to stay dialed in. I can't talk about Rodney Garner and his plan on the defensive line. I got to stay focused. Obviously, the offensive line's a concern. Like Dauber said, we're going to wait and let JP go on probably some type of an epic rant about playing offensive line and having 3 years of eligibility left and how he might give it a go. But what I want to talk about is the concern at running back, because Tyon Evans entering the transfer portal was a huge blow for this football team. And then you had all the rumors that Eric Gray was going to come in. You had a couple of different targets in the transfer portal that Tennessee was looking at. Even most recently, Ramon Jefferson from Sam Houston State. I really liked that kid's tape. I thought he was physical. He was like a bowling ball, break tackles. But it sounds like the coaching staff passed on him. They didn't want to take a chance. And I heard that about a couple of the running backs. What was the one from Wake Forest? Sound like they passed on him. Gibbs, I think they passed on him. So there's more to it than just tape. There's a little bit of locker room dynamic. What's really going on here? But I think it was a miss for this coaching staff to not add a running back on this roster going into the 2022 season. And that's not taken away from Jabari Small. I think Jabari Small is a solid running back, but I think he needs a guy like Tylen Evans to kind of be that 1-2 punch. And when I see Jabari Small and Jalen Wright as your 1 and 2, I see two very similar backs. Can they stay healthy? And then once you get 3 deep, I'm sorry, I don't have a lot of confidence in Laneith Whitehead. And then, everybody's going to talk about Justin Williams-Thomas, and that's fine. I'm excited about that kid. I'm excited about him, but he is also a freshman. He's 18 years old. He looks like a full-grown man, but he's 18 years old. Do you guys agree, disagree on that running back room?
Yeah, it's an unknown once you get – I mean, you're talking about 2 sophomores in Wright and Laneith Whitehead, and then 2 freshmen in Williams, Thomas, and Dylan Sampson, if he sees the field.
He's another one I didn't mention that I'm excited about, but again, freshman.
Upside to both of those guys, that they've looked really good on tape, but the SEC is a different animal. So coming in as a true freshman and having an impact at running back, I don't know if that's possible, but we saw last year what Josh Heupel and this staff was able to do scheme-wise, getting players in space, spreading the field out. I look for Small to kind of have end the year with, or start this year with the way he ended last year. In the bowl game, he went for almost 200 yards. I think it was 180. Had a big game against Vandy. I know it was Vandy, but I think he's one of those guys that he's a momentum back. So if he gets some more carries and gets going, I think that he's going to do well. Jalen Wright, I think, like you said, is a similar back. So you don't have that change of pace or different style, really. So that might be where they get into a little bit of trouble. But, we could see somebody bust out. That, you never know.
I certainly think that Justin Williams-Thomas can make an impact with this team. I mean, we certainly struggled in short yardage situations last year, which seems to be a common thing with Tennessee football over the years. But anyway, I think that he could be that bigger back that could get you those tougher yards down there. Yes, he is a freshman. There is going to be some growing pains there, especially in pass blocking situations. But typically running back is one of the fastest ways for a freshman to get on the field. Typically, those you see more impact freshmen at the running back position. But personally, I think that this running back room is far and away Smalls. I mean, I think that Jabari Small is your number one running back. I know he last year he struggled at times, but guys, I mean he got hurt in the second quarter against Pitt, and that shoulder injury carried throughout the entire season. I mean, it kept nagging. If he can stay healthy, and hopefully that they can rotate those guys in and out more to where that they are fresher. Last year, whatever was wrong with Evans, I mean, he basically just quit. But talking about the running back position and this offense, remember the Missouri game last year? I mean, Evans had that breakout career game, and I'll go on record and say that he'll never he'll never have another game in college or pro career that matches that, because I just don't think that the kid's head's on straight. But regardless with that, I think that if we can figure out how to consistently run the football, I think that this offense is going to be just absolutely phenomenal. I think that is one of the huge keys for this offense to improve, even upon what we did last year, is if we can consistently run the football, pick up positive yards on first down, and also pick up those tough yards to keep those chains moving. I'm telling you, to me, that's one of the most important things with this offense this year, is if we can find a way to run the football more consistent.
Yeah, I'll add on to that. If we are able to run effectively, it balances the offensive attack. It doesn't put everything on Hooker slinging the ball around and those wide receivers, which there's a little bit of question who's going to step up alongside of Tillman. The other thing, and you kind of hit on it, can we run the ball better against the dominant teams?
Yeah.
That's the big key right there. You look at those games that we dropped, particularly Alabama, Georgia. We didn't rush the ball well. Mm-hmm. We did stack up some pretty big numbers, but most of them were against the weaker opponents.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And I think that all correlates. Obviously, that Tennessee lost those games, but also the fact is that we didn't score near as many points in those games. Now, yes, naturally, you're playing tougher competition. I wouldn't expect them to average their 39 points a game that they averaged last year against the Bamas and the Georgias and so forth like that. But still, if you can find a way to pick up a few more first downs in those types of games, be able to, you don't have to dominate the line of scrimmage with this type of offense, but, you can't be one dimensional, obviously, with that, because, even though that football is such a passing game now, the running game is still very, very important. You have still got to be able to run the football. You have got to be able to do that, to pick up those first downs, to keep the chains moving, to keep your offense out there, and to keep putting pressure on that defense.
You got to keep the defense honest.
Yeah.
And that's what Heupel's offense is all about. Everybody thinks it's a pass-happy offense, but it's not. I mean, they run the football too. And, Dauber, I know you talked about the difference because of running the ball more against the smaller teams. They still averaged over 215 yards a game on the ground. But again, I know that's skewed. I agree 100% with what you say. They got to do a better job running the football against the Georgias, the Alabamas, even the Florida game, man. They got to be able to run the football against Florida. It's going to be a huge game, 4th game of the season. So many people talking about that's the big question. Can they start the season 4-0? But it doesn't always have to be run the ball to set up the pass, right? That's like the old school mindset. Run the ball, set up the pass, utilize play action. That's not necessarily Josh Heupel's deal. It's the wide sets, spreading them out, getting that thin defense, and then if they just go with the matchup.
Yeah.
Just go with what they give you, and that goes to what Dauber was talking about, the question marks at wide receiver. As much as like everybody's fired up about Brew McCoy, I'm excited about Brew McCoy. You get the number 1 athlete, I don't care what class he's in, but it's still a question mark. Like when you look at the depth chart at wide receiver, outside of Cedric Tillman. Now let me talk out of both sides of my mouth, because go back a year ago, right? Go back just a year ago, and who was going to be the wide receiver last year? We were talking about Jalen Hyatt, Jimmy Holiday, and Jimmy Callaway all spring long, all summer long. That's the focus. Nobody was talking about Cedric Tillman, but Cedric Tillman put the work in and got it done. So who can be that guy this year? Who's going to be the Velus Jones that steps up? Can Jalen Hyatt step up and be that Velus Jones type receiver? Because, again, I think this offense, you can set up the run by having success in the pass. And then, JP, you talk about how many points. Can they score 40 points a game? This offense is going to be unstoppable. Unstoppable if it's balanced attack.
Yeah, and before we move on from the running back room, something else certainly that this entire team, on offense, but but the running backs need to help out too. Is certainly being able to pass block. I think what Tennessee gave up almost three and a half sacks a game. I think they had 44 sacks last year total, which was the worst in the SEC. And most people, when they talk about sacks, they automatically think about the offensive line. But there's a lot of times that fault can be is the running back's fault or possibly the tight end's fault. With that. So I think Tennessee certainly struggled last year at times. I think all of our running backs struggled last year. So that's something certainly that I'm hopeful that this staff has worked on with the running back room. And, if we can see some improvement there as well, certainly that's going to help cut down on some of those sacks.
Let me hit these super chats real quick. Then I'm going to throw a question at Dauber real quick here. Skids is VFL for 2. Thank you for the super chat. Says, we ran the ball 55% of plays last year. This ain't an air raid. Exactly. So many people get lost and think that Josh Heupel is like an air raid. It's not the case.
It's the speed. The speed and tempo is his deal.
Yeah, it's not an air raid. Very balanced attack. Brad Burnett bringing out the big guns. Brad says, here's a 50 spot. Thank you for the super chat, Brad Burnett. I don't give a damn about the whole state of Alabama. Play the clip, Boogie. He says, play the clip, Boogie. Brad, I'm gonna give you 2 clips. I'm gonna give you 2 for 1. Anybody that doesn't hang out on Tuesday nights, we got a certain clip. If you drop a $50 super chat or more, there's a certain clip we play. Brad's gonna get 2. Here's the first.
Money isn't everything. It's the only thing. And everyone has a price for the $1 Million Man.
We don't give a damn about the whole state of Alabama, whole state of Alabama, whole state of Alabama. Don't give a damn about the whole state of Alabama. We're from Tennessee. We don't give a damn about the whole state of Alabama, whole state of Alabama, whole state of Alabama. We don't give a damn about the whole state of Alabama. We're from Tennessee.
Man, that's goosebumps twice tonight.
What I'd give for that right there.
Between John Ward kicking the show off and that right there
brings a tear to my eye. God, that's been way too long. Way too long.
Who edited that intro, man? Whoever did that, they did a great job putting that together. Great job. Thank you to our tech guy, our editor, our marketing department, our advertisers. Thank you to all they work. They all work real damn hard around here. All right, let's get back to depth. We were talking about depth. Somebody, that's kind of been the story. We talk about depth at running back, depth on the line of scrimmage, depth on defense that we'll get into next week. I saw somebody drop this in the chat a little bit earlier, so I'm going to throw it at you, Dauber, and this is kind of skewing off a little bit. What's up, D. Breezy? Good to see you in the chat. Die-hard Vol Twitter dude. Thanks for dropping in the chat, man. Good to see you. I just recognized his name scrolling up through the chat there. But when we talk about depth, and again, I'm kind of changing gears here just for a second, then we'll get back to this offense. But somebody said, what does it take to add depth? What does it take? Dauber, what does it and let me tell you something. It's not just one class. It takes more.
Success breeds success. So you got to have positive momentum and keep going up that hill. And, you look winning. That cures a lot of ailments. So I think you're going to have to continue to build off of last year's overachieving. You're going to have to continue to beat the teams you're supposed to beat, and then throw in. I almost think not just being competitive. I think you're going to have to get one of the big boys, either this year or next year, for things to continue. Where they need to be to annually play with those teams.
JP, when we talk about building depth, we talk about success on the field. Success helps you win on the recruiting trail. How many classes do you think, not just Josh Heupel from day one, how many classes do you think it takes him to be able to say, I've got quality depth in the SEC now? And the transfer portal can definitely help speed that up.
Yeah, I mean, two 2 to 3, I would say, and a lot of that does depend on the transfer portal and how many upperclassmen that you have, all of those sorts of things like that. But I'm going to say that, at a minimum 2, but more than likely 3. I'm thinking back to what was it, 2014 when 2013, 2014 when Jones had those 2 really good recruiting classes. I can remember sitting there and saying 2016 is the year that Tennessee should be competitive. That was the year that I circled and said that is the year that they should have been competitive. They were pretty good in 2015. They just had issues and, dropped some games, because of coaching, obviously, and so forth. But then 2016, they were probably one of the most talented teams in the SEC. Obviously, we know that it turned sour and they didn't win as many games, obviously, as they should have. But they did, beat Florida and they beat Georgia. So I'm going to say that you need at least 3, but now the transfer portal, depending on how successful that you are with that or how much that you lose from a transfer portal, that could either speed that up or make it even more difficult.
Let me throw this out here though. A couple of years ago on this very channel, what did we say that the rebuild was for a certain coach with no hair? We said like 5 years, didn't we?
And we doubled down with Josh Heupel too. It's 5-6 years.
But
but
I'll say that. But the landscape of college football has changed within
100%.
the last year.
100%.
Between NIL, the transfer portal, all of that is just it is completely new territory right now.
But even still with the transfer portal, it does definitely allow you to speed up the process. But you got to be able to recruit high school kids. And it's going to be interesting to see how it changes. Because like I said, Dauber, it's been within 1 year, everything has changed. And now with NIL, you're talking about how much money do I spend here versus how much money do I spend there? What position groups do I spend money on? Do I spend money – I'm working on the class of 23 right now. Do I go out and I offer a kid like Carnell Tate a ton of money, or do I save that thinking I can get like an Isaiah Nair, right? That was the big hot commodity in the transfer portal this year. Do I sit on that money hoping that a name like that comes up in the transfer portal at the end of the year? And look, it's gonna be this year's gonna be the wild, wild west. You thought this past offseason was bad. This upcoming offseason, people are starting to get a grasp on how NIL works and how the transfer portal works. Every big time college player in the country is going to be thinking about saying, I'm entering the transfer portal. What are you going to give me? It's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. I'm not trying to transition to defense, but I just like this conversation, this subject of what does it take to add depth back. And the perfect example is Rodney Garner. He is the picture perfect example of what it takes to add depth back when you look at the defensive line and you've got BY, and you can talk about Tyler Barron and there's some other guys there, but BY is the only guy that really gets talked about at the edge position. He comes in the class of 22 and adds James Pierce, Joshua Josephs. That's 2 really good players. 2 really good players. And now look what he is already doing in the class of 23, adding 2 of the top 10 edge rushers in the country. That's back-to-back recruiting classes. Now you got 4 really good edge rushers, whereas when you look at the depth chart now across the board, it's a little weak. It's a little weak. That's how you stack them.
No drop-off.
Yes, exactly. Like Dauber talked about early. Yes, with the running back room that Dauber was talking about early, the drop-off. And it's like, man, we hope. JP says he thinks Justin Williams-Thomas can contribute. We hope he can. We got to have somebody to pick up that short yardage. But that's the picture-perfect example. No idea.
I mean, that's the concern with having to depend on so many freshmen is that you truly don't know. And then, there's going to be a learning curve for those kids. I mean, no matter what kind of program that they come from or whatever, this is big boy SEC football. I mean, other than the NFL, it doesn't get any more competitive and better than what you see week in and week out in the SEC. And the fact that there's these kids that can come in as freshmen, right out of high school and be able to compete. I mean, it's certainly a testament to their athletic ability and all the work that they put in.
But some can't. I mean,
Well,
I remember a certain 5-star quarterback that everybody was clamoring for that is playing in Las Vegas right now.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many of them that
it's SEC football. It's a big difference.
Yeah, and a lot of these kids, you have to remember. I mean, they're 18 years old. I mean, their head is not where that it should be to be able to be, the type of player that they can, and that's why that you see. Some of them struggle, and a lot of them just flame out. I mean, look at Jalen Hyde. I mean, he's went on record, this year, since the season ended, and said, that his head was not in the right place, that he wasn't preparing the way that he needed to prepare in order to be a successful college football player. I mean, he's went on record saying that, and I know we haven't talked about the wide receivers yet, but I think Jalen Hyde is going to be a name that a lot of people around the country are going to be talking about come about October.
Well, because what you just said, it takes a man to say, I screwed up. And not only for him to say it, but then that got followed up by Hendon Hooker confirming he's putting in the work, and this coaching staff has praised him too. So that goes a long way in my eyes, and why I just made the video a couple of days ago about why Jalen Hyde's about to have a breakout year.
Well, that's back full circle to wide receivers and talking about the depth. Here are my notes. I've got Jalen Hyde. Is this a breakout year? And then you look at Brew McCoy. That's an unknown, similar to Jones coming from USC or Javonta Payton transferring in. And we're looking to replace those two guys, and the production lost with those two guys graduating out. But you do have some guys that have had a game here or there. Or a couple plays here or there where you saw that spark. Holiday, Callaway, Keaton, Walker. But then you've also got some freshmen that, as a wide receiver, you can come in. And I know you talked about running back as a place a freshman can have an impact. Can Chaz Nimrod come in and have an impact? What about Squirrel White? Dude is a blazer. We saw Hyatt a couple years ago against Alabama get behind everybody and make a couple plays. Speed kills, especially in an offense like this, especially running tempo, and that's what Heupel wants to do. He's not calling this play. He's calling this play to set up 2 plays later. And it's, you're talking on the ball in 30 seconds, running it down their throat, no change of defensive subs. That's what his schemes are designed to do. Get them out of position and exploit that.
Well, that's a perfect segue for Tim Bradley's Super Chat, and then we'll come back to wide receivers because thank you, Tim, for the $5. We appreciate the Super Chat. Do you guys think the coaching staff has a plan to combat defensive flopping this season? And we saw how that impacted this football team. We saw how it impacted them anytime the game got slowed down and they had to get set. This offense struggles. They're obviously at their best when they're going fast, up tempo. JP, I don't know that there's an answer to this. I don't know that there's anything that this coaching staff can do to combat that.
Either.
You would have hoped that Greg Sankey and the SEC Commission's office would have done something about it, but they were too worried about NIL. They were too worried about making sure that Nick Saban got what he wanted. What's the answer, Jay? I don't think there is an answer to that. I just don't see it.
I mean, without them, penalizing the team for flopping like that, I mean, I don't know what it is because I don't think that it's going to all of a sudden have Heupel think about running a different offense or a scheme or anything like that. He's going to go at it. So unfortunately, until SEC or the NCAA makes a ruling on it to where the team is penalized. I just don't see what they possibly can do. The only thing that I know that they might be able to do is they could continue that we could continue to fake injuries on extra points to give our defense extra time, because I've never in my life seen so many injuries by our offensive linemen after extra points last year. I'm telling you, that right there, that's how that we were letting our defense rest. There's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah, but and that makes it hard for us to argue about other teams flopping
when
we're doing it on extra points, because it's very clear what was happening.
Yes, but the only difference is that is during a dead ball, so it isn't impacting the actual speed of the offense there.
No, but it's letting us rest.
It is, yeah. And I mean, it's smart. It's smart move.
I'm gonna lob one up to you, JP.
Okay.
This is.
Thank the Lord, it's not me. I get nervous when you guys lob one to me.
I'm gonna put it on a tee for you.
God. This ain't gonna work out well.
Usually, when something is on a tee for me, I swing and miss.
Yeah, I've seen you play golf.
Here you go. You combat it by flopping against Alabama and Georgia, so Saban and Smart complain to Sankey.
Yeah, that's true.
And then something gets done about it.
That's true. That is true for sure.
Because why?
Yeah.
Because why?
Are you trying to get a JP rant in the middle of July?
I mean, that's all that they care about. I mean, that's all I mean, that's all Sankey cares about for sure, is taking care of Bama and Saban. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I mean, anybody that wants to argue that, they can just continue to argue, because it's proven. It's proven. There is a bias towards that university and that head coach, and there's no doubt about it.
Chat's going nuts. A lot of people coming in here late. We're about 270, 280 people hanging out with us. Make sure you guys do hit the thumbs up. We would appreciate it. It's not too late to share. Share it out. Let somebody know we're live. Hopefully they'll catch the replay. We're going to be live again next Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern time, breaking down the defense. I'm live every Tuesday, 6:30, playing NCAA, talking a little ball football. This fall, it is going to kick up into high gear. Planning to do a fan call-in show every single Sunday. And what's great about that, we do the post-game shows on Saturday night. Immediately after the game, we go live. You guys are full of piss and vinegar. You're so fired up, so emotional. We're going to let you come on the channel, and you will be right here in a little window, just like me, JP, and Dobber. You will be able to voice your opinion on this channel. We're going to sit back and let you guys go. We may drive the conversation a little bit, but it's going to be your show. How can you do that? Become a member of the channel. Hit that join button down below. 99 cents a month or as much as $10 a month. You financially support what we're doing. We'll provide more content for you, but you also get custom Talking Balls emojis. You get access to fan call-in shows. Boogie is ready to quit his job, so that's the that's the priority. That's the priority. I'm ready to quit my job and do this full-time. So become a member of the channel, and we will do that. But again, midweek show, Tuesday show, post-game shows, tailgate shows, Sunday fan call-in. It's going to be a crazy fall. Looking forward to it. Hopkins lacrosse fan is in the house. What is up? Hop says the band
What's up, Hop?
is back together. The band is back together. Feels like old days, boys. Feels like the old days. James Moody driving a $20 super chat. Thank you, James. Appreciate that super chat. Are we more likely to get help in the backfield from the portal or the 2023 recruiting class? James, that's a great question. Thank you for the super chat, my man. That's what we're talking about in the class of 23 right now. I think the only running back's the kid from Las Vegas, right? Mm-hmm. And I've heard people talking that he may be moving to linebacker, and I don't know how true that is. I know at one point 24/7 Sports had him listed as a linebacker on their recruiting service. I saw some people talking about it on VAWLS. I've not seen it confirmed. I think it's got to be the portal. Do you guys know it? JP, do you agree, disagree?
Right now, based on what they have signed, yes, and it doesn't seem like that they're after the Bishop kid out of Knoxville down there, or wherever he's from. I think he's committing tomorrow. I think they said. I saw something.
I don't think he's a take. Do you?
Yeah. No,
I get asked that every day, and I'm like, I don't think nobody's talking about him. 24/7's not talking about him. VAWLS isn't talking about him.
The only one that's popped up recently was the fella that's committed to UCLA. Was it Robinson kid?
Roderick Robinson.
Yeah. Supposedly he's not happy with the announcement that UCLA is joining the Big Ten. So they said Tennessee was talking to him. So yeah, I mean, here's the thing. To me, it'll either be through the transfer portal or that there'll be a name. Because I mean, Justin Williams Thomas this time last year he was committed at West Virginia, I believe. So
Yep.
there'll be names pop up this fall for sure.
That's the thing that Boogie and I were texting about earlier this afternoon. I know Tennessee has a lot of momentum right now in the 2023 class. A lot of good stuff going on, but these kids still have a whole season of high school football. There's a lot that can happen between now and even the early signing day that they have, much less the actual national signing day for the 2023 class. So, who knows?
But look at last year where we were at during the summer. Yeah. Like we didn't have anybody committed.
Yeah.
And ended up with a pretty decent class for Josh Heupel's first year. So, like I said, it's a long way to early signing day.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. We're going to talk about the offensive line, wide receivers.
We're going to talk about the wide receivers still, too. But I cut Dauber off. Dauber, did you have a point you were going to finish there?
No.
All right, good. Let's jump into the wide receivers. Dauber kind of started down this trail, then we got derailed by Super Chat, which, hey, derail us all night long. We'll stay live all night if you guys want to derail us with Super Chats. Appreciate the questions.
Go bed at sometime, Boogie.
All right, me and Dauber will stay live all night. Okay, I will call up my marketing team. I'll call up the advertising team. I'll call up the tech guys, and all of us will stay live together. It'll be great times. Let's talk about the wide receiver position because Dauber kind of went down that road, and we talked about, Cedric Tillman's really the only proven guy. But, Dauber kind of reiterated something I've been talking about over the last couple of weeks is we didn't have anybody proven last year either. So I think the wide receiver position, and I'll even carry this over into some NIL talk and some recruiting talk. I think Josh Heupel has the confidence in his offense that he doesn't necessarily need to go spend a ton of money on a guy like Carnell Tate. Let him go on to Ohio State, pocket that money, and invest it in somebody like, I don't know, Shamrod Umarov, I don't know, Stanton Ramel, who's scheduled to commit here soon. Put it in the offensive line, put it into edge rushers, put it into certain positions of need, and I think this offense sells itself. So, Dauber, that's why I'm really not concerned. And you take a guy with athleticism like Brew McCoy, you take a guy like Jalen Hyatt, and what JP was saying earlier, I think the wide receiver position is going to be fine.
I said when we started talking about this coaching staff, the offense is going to be fine. They're going to score their points. You're going to have athletes that are clamoring to come in and play in this system. Granted, that was prior to NIL and all that changed that. So now you got guys chasing those sacks of money. But I think Heupel's system, you're going to have skill position players succeed because of the system. Not that they're just system guys or, a quarterback's a game manager, because you're still going to have talent. But like you said, then you can use that NIL money to bring in people on the line or a linebacker or a big-time impact player. Because from the get-go, I've said the offense is going to score points. My worry is with the defense. And we'll get into that next week. That was my concern last year. That's still my concern this year. There are some glaring spots on the other side of the ball. But I do think if you look at that wide receiver room, like I said earlier, you've got guys that have had those flashes of a couple games or a couple plays. Can they step up and stack games together and make a season, have a breakout season like you had Tillman do last year? Like you had Javonta Payton come in and do, like you had Velus Jones do. These guys weren't really producers prior to last year. And then they stepped up. And like you said earlier, we weren't even talking about those guys. Those were not the guys that we said they're going to impact the wide receiver group. Not one of those. So I think that's a position that you can see somebody come in and, make an impact if they put the work in. And I think Hooker has been working with these guys pretty much since the bowl game last year, some of them. So that's what I like to see, and I expect big things from a couple of those guys. Jalen Hyatt particularly, because you guys alluded to it earlier. He came out and said, listen, I wasn't where I needed to be. I wasn't, putting in the work, and that shows the signs of somebody that they want more out of what they're getting, and it does take a big man to admit that and then go get it.
Let me throw this comment at you, JP, kind of put a different twist on the wide receivers. JJ Banks, longtime listener of the show. I think he's an OG. I think he's been around before we were even live. JJ says, I get your point about the wide receivers, but we are gonna have to get wide receivers that Bama, Ohio State, and Clemson get if we want to win big. Do you agree or disagree with that?
I mean, I agree with it to an extent, but again, like Dauber said, I mean, there was nobody talking about Cedric Tillman last year, and I mean, just a phenomenal year that he had. So, I really feel like that this offense can make these wide receivers look really, really good for sure. And the fact that both of the Jimmies didn't transfer out. I would have thought for sure that Holloway for sure.
I thought one or the other. I kept saying one of those guys has to be gone.
Yeah. So to me, the fact that those two guys stayed, knowing all of the other players that. All the other wide receivers, what that room looked like, what they had coming in for this fall, the fact that they stayed on, that tells me that they believe in this coaching staff, that they believe in this offense, that they believe in Heupel. And, I really think that these kids and these players have put in the work. I'm not really concerned about the production that was lost. I will say one of the big things that concerns me with wide receivers, and it is often overlooked, is the downfield blocking overall. That takes a special desire to do that. You can't take off plays, and I thought Tennessee was excellent in that last year. I thought that both or all of our wide receivers, Jones and Payton and Tillman, all three of those guys were exceptional blockers in the open field and out wide. And I think that that's something probably that these wide receivers are going to have to step up and obviously do as well with that. But, certainly what JJ's saying, yeah, I mean, if you've got Lord, I don't know, all those receivers that Bama's had over the last, 12
even Ohio State's put a bunch in the league, man. A bunch.
But I will say this. How easy is it when typically that your quarterback's got 5 to 7 seconds to stand back there and pick the field apart? And yes, you do have 4.3, 4.4 speed. You're going to get open. You are going to get open. If you're anything worth anything at all as a wide receiver, you are going to get open. So, I'm not really worried about the wide receivers. Now, I may be sitting here, in 2 months saying, golly, we miss Peyton and Velus Jones for sure. But I really feel like that these guys that are down there now, I think that they're going to step up.
Well, let me. I don't want to bash any particular player, but going
Harrison
back,
Bailey. Go ahead and say it.
Going back, we did not have stellar quarterback play. So why would a wide receiver want to come to the University of Tennessee?
Well, and that's what somebody just said in the chat, too, while we were kind of having this conversation. Somebody said if this offense continues to do what it's doing, the elite, the Carnell Tates don't go to Ohio State. They come to Tennessee.
Yeah.
Again, it goes back to why this fall is so important.
Well,
who wouldn't want to be having all these opportunities to catch all these passes and be running wide open and scoring 70-yard touchdown passes,
And 1 year is not enough. Like 1 year is not enough. As excited as we are as fans, 1 year is not enough for these kids like Carnell Tate. Let me get. I got a couple of super chats I got to get caught up on here. Travis Melvin for 10 just says, "Go Big Orange." Thank you, Travis, for that super chat. We appreciate the old tip in the tip jar. Jody Wooten for 10. Thank you for the super chat. I think Squirrel White will have a big year as a freshman. I agree with that, Jody. And it goes back to what Dauber said. Not that he's disagreeing with JP, but JP was talking about running backs being able to make an impact. I agree with Dauber. I think as a wide receiver, you took the words right out of my mouth with Jalen Hyatt in that Alabama game. We saw him absolutely torch a guy because you take a guy like Squirrel White, like Jalen Hyatt, that have that elite level speed, you put him in there and you say, run a go route. I'll throw it to you. It's like backyard football. Outrun everybody, and I'll throw it to you, especially in this Josh Heupel offense. When you're able to scheme guys open, Squirrel White's going to be a weapon. Squirrel White's the guy that I may be more excited about than anybody. I think Justin Williams-Thomas has, long-term potential, but Squirrel White, I could see him making plays against Ball State week 1.
I mean, I hope he does. I'm not counting on him as much, just for the fact because I think that there is quite a bit of talent in that wide receiver room. So, I hope he does, Boogie. I hope he does. I hope he takes the top off of every defense that we play this year. But I think that there's a lot of players that are in front of him. That's the thing that I'm looking at there.
I think you may see his impact felt on special teams before wide receiver. Now, that doesn't mean he doesn't get in the game and, you get him an end around or a bubble screen or a go route or something. But I think that, like JP said, I think there are other guys ahead of him. Now,
no, he's not going to be in your top 3. Your top 3 are going to be Cedric Tillman, Brew McCoy, and Jalen Hyatt. But I think they're going to find a way to get Squirrel White on the field. But
now,
to disagree with myself, Justin Williams-Thomas, I think if it's 3rd and 1 and you just got to hand the ball off to a big physical back, I could see him in the game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean with that. But, I also think something that I've been curious about with this, with these wide receivers and some of them is – last year, this offense is probably totally different than a lot of these players had ever seen before. So, you ended up seeing the upperclassmen, the Tillmans and certainly the 6-year senior as far as Peyton and Jones goes. Those were the guys that ended up stepping up because I would imagine that as fast as this offense runs, that it takes a while to get conditioned to that and get accustomed to that. And you have to be very, very disciplined with that. And that's why I also think having an extra year in this system for kids like Jalen Hyatt and Keaton and who else we got? Of course, McCoy, he's going to be, his first year in it, but, Walker Merrill and both of the Jimmies, Holiday and Callaway, I think that having that extra year and being able to have went through that whole season and practice like that and seen how this offense has to run and how that you have to be so quick and fast and just so on top of it in order to be successful in this offense. I really think that those wide receivers are buying into that because they have seen what kind of impact that those players had last year, and I do. I mean, I really expect that these wide receivers to excel.
Let's get ready to transition as we get ready to wrap this thing up. I want to get who you guys are most excited about going into the season. But first, let's share up some merchandise. You guys know where to get it. Go to bonfire.com/store/talkinballs. Any and all sport, greatly appreciate you. Pick up those Talkin' Balls Elite shirts. Let somebody know you are elite. We also got these new shirts. Beat Bama, beat Florida, beat Georgia. And also, that's a favorite right there. Everybody's loving that Kentucky's Daddy shirt. And, since Carolina Jackpot's in the chat right now, since he's hanging out listening, big-time South Carolina fan dropped a video today talking about, or yesterday, I guess it was yesterday, I don't know, it all blends together, talking about how South Carolina is an elite program and how Tennessee, this is real life. This is real life.
Sorry.
Tennessee can't hold a candle to South Carolina.
That's a troll if there ever was one.
It's so funny. He was I was watching the video. It was sent to me, and I was asked to respond. And in the video, he's talking about which losing streak they need to reverse first. And he rattled off about 8 losing streaks that South Carolina needs to reverse. But in all seriousness, man, a lot of our listeners said that Carolina Jackpot's a good dude. He's more than welcome on this channel, man. He hates me because I came at him. It's fine. He can hate me. He can say whatever he wants. I don't really care. JL in the chat says he's hilarious. I would love nothing more than to interact with a dude like that. If he's a legitimate fan, I just felt the need to make a video and respond to his ignorance. So that's what I did today. But you can see the Kentucky's Daddy shirt there. A lot of people wanting a South Carolina's Daddy shirt now. We'll see what comes out. But again, go pick up the merchandise, bonfire.com/store/talkinballs. Any and all sport, greatly appreciated. Appreciate you guys tuning in. You always show up, you show out, you show love. The way you support this channel, it absolutely blows my mind. Fallout Zone there in the chat saying join the channel, become a member, dropping those custom Talkin' Balls emoji. You can do that down below. Hit that join button right beside subscribe. Like I said, we got 13,000 subscribers. Did you guys know that? Did either one of you know that we hit 13,000 subscribers?
I responded to your tweet
this week. Absolutely amazing. We appreciate the support. If 13,000 people join this channel for 99 cents a month, we would be rocking and rolling in the free world. Buckeye actually sent my, I joke about the design team, the marketing team, the advertising team, all that stuff. There is actually a designer that does everything for us. That's my stepbrother. I sent him a text today, said you wanted a mustard shirt. We're going to take the French's mustard bottle, and we're going to change the French's logo to Talkin' VAWLS. We're going to change it from Big Yellow to Go Big Orange. We're going to put the guarantee is for the fans, by the fans. We are going to customize that French's mustard bottle just for you, Buck. That shirt is coming soon, so get in where you fit in. Go pick up our merchandise. We're getting ready to wrap this thing up. We're already over an hour, so we'll keep it short and sweet as we get out the door here. Dauber, give me one name. Who are you the most excited about on the offensive side of the ball and why? You get to go first. You can take whoever you want. You can take the easy road, and you can go Hendon Hooker, or you can go a little bit more complex. It's up to you. You're first.
Jeez.
It's not even a softball. It's not giving you time to think about it.
I'm going to go easy. I'm going Hooker. I'm excited to see him try to build off of what was really an amazing season. I do hope that he starts off hot, and I hope that the university gets behind him and pushes a Heisman campaign, because this kid could, if he comes out and plays like he did coming in last year, and the efficiency in which he played, and stays healthy, that's a good sign for Tennessee. And then I want to – I can't remember where I saw it, but I want to end with a quote from Heupel that I read. He's talking about there's so much more known versus a year ago when everything was unknown. Just talking about heading into this season and where they are as a coaching staff and as a team versus where they were this same time last year. So that right there has to give you some confidence. And a little bit like Boogie's talked about earlier, maybe they didn't go as hard after some of these guys because they are confident in who is in the position groups and where they are. That's the thing. As fans, we kind of forget these coaches see the guys every day on the practice field. They're going to make the best decisions. We hope. Sometimes they do just trot the same guy back out there for whatever reason. But I think that was a deficiency in the coaching part that we saw a little while ago. But these coaches see these guys practice every day, and they have confidence in them. They know what they've got. Yeah, man, looking forward to 2022 and what this offense has to bring because they sure brought some fireworks last year.
Let me say this real quick. Cody Branch in the chat said, Boogie, check your phone after the stream. We'll do it now, Cody. I'll go ahead and check it now. The South Carolina fan has made a video about us. He's made a video about us. So I'll give you guys the opportunity. The chat has the opportunity. I'm bringing some Tuesday night rules. Tuesday night rules right here to Talkin' VAWLS. JP and Dauber, you don't have to be a part of this shenanigans because I'm about to get real rude and real ugly and become a YouTuber. If you guys want to stream snipe and share up his video and watch it live on air after we get JP's impact player and my impact player, we'll do it. But you got to raise $100 in super chats. $100 in super chats between now and the end of the show, and we will share up the South Carolina video. We'll watch it live on air. I will dismiss Dauber and JP. They don't have to be a part of this shenanigans. They're more than welcome to stay if they want. But you guys know the deal. Yeah, everybody in the chat, Zachary Barr saying play it. Derek Rogers saying play it. No, we're playing by Tuesday night rules. You guys got to rack up $100 in super chats between now and the end of the show, and I will do it. So that you have been challenged. Otherwise, I'm going to ignore the guy and move on with life because that's the way we do things. JP, who are you the most excited about on offense?
Well, first of all, Boogie, I can't sit here
and not talk about the offensive line.
An offensive preview and not talk about the offensive line.
I'm sorry. I just realized it. I just realized. Let's do this. Give me your impact player. I'll give mine, and then we'll go back and we'll talk about the offensive line. I dropped the ball completely on that. I lost track of what was going on. Give me your impact player. We'll talk about the offensive line to wrap up the show.
I mean, my impact player is Jalen Hyatt. We've got to have somebody that steps up and takes the place of Elvis Jones. This offense proved last year that the wide receivers, that if you can run a route and if you can get behind the defense, that Hooker is going to get you the football. Jalen Hyatt is going to have a breakout year, and I said it on here earlier. Paul Feinbaum, Kurt Herbstreit, whoever that these talking heads are, come sometime in October, they're going to be like, Jalen Hyatt. I'm telling you guys, Jalen Hyatt is going to have an absolute breakout year.
Let me hit this super chat from Xavier. He dropped it a little bit earlier for $5. Thank you for the super chat. It says, go Big Orange from Myrtle Beach. Thank you, Xavier. Hope you're having a good vacation, buddy. And then after I put up the challenge and said, you guys got to raise $100 and we'll stream snipe. We'll watch the South Carolina video together. Cody Branch says, here's $5. I'm starting it. Derek Rogers follows that up with $10. Thank you, Derek Rogers, for the super chat. Elijah says, here's another $10. There's $25, another $75. And we'll go ahead and play. We will go ahead and play the South Carolina video and react to it live on air. Dauber, JP, again, you can be dismissed. I will be the one to take all the heat. I got no problem. I'm the one that made the video, called the guy out. If you want to stay, you're more than welcome to stay. But we need 75 more bucks. We will make it happen. For me, on offense, breakout player, I'm going to go with a huge gamble, man. A huge gamble. And I'm going to go Brew McCoy. And I'm saying Brew McCoy because Cedric Tillman, I think we're going to get what we got. I think Cedric Tillman has put in the work. I think he is comfortable in this offense. I think he is confident in himself to come back for another year. I think he would have been drafted. Had he entered the draft. He would be playing in the NFL, but he chose to come back. Let's one last ride with Hendon Hooker. And I think Cedric Tillman's going to have a big year. But on the flip side of that, Brew McCoy on the outside, the size, the athleticism. He is Cedric Tillman 2.0. The size that he brings on the outside, and I think he is going to open this offense up for everybody. JP, you talking about Jalen Hyatt? I agree. I think he's going to have a big year, and Brew McCoy is going to be a part of that because you're going to have two guys split out wide, and Jalen Hyatt is going to be able to stretch the field up the middle, and this offense is going to be even more powerful, even more potent than it was last year. 40 points a game. Let's make it 45 or 50 points a game. Let's go.
I'll piggyback on that. And I don't know that we're going to see them be impact players, but I think Josh Heupel and the offensive staff is going to use the tight end position in a much different and bigger way this year. I think
I'm excited about Warren for sure.
You're going to have Fant and Warren being way more impactful, especially in the red zone, I believe. Mm-hmm. I think they're going to scheme up for those guys and that's just another way to spread and stretch the field.
One thing that sucks about the tight end position is Trinity Bell transferring out. And when that got announced, I kind of raised an eyebrow, like, why is he transferring out? And, his dad was a regular listener. He was a member of the channel. He was in every post-game show. And, it sounds like, where did he end up? I'm looking right now, Iowa Western Community College. I wonder if that was a grade issue. I never heard if that's what it was. But that, obviously, if he's at a community college, that makes me wonder if it was something to do with grades. But the tight end position past Princeton Fant and Jacob Warren, you talk about a fall off. You got Miles Campbell, redshirt freshman. Do they have enough there? I'm very excited about the top two. Fant and Jacob Warren, I think, are going to have a great year. Now, let me get caught up on the Super Chats here. Robert Clark for 5 says, come on, guys, let's stay live all night. John Hill for 10, thank you for the Super Chat, says, let JP talk about the O-line. Yeah, we're gonna let him get into that here in just a second. Joel Sane for 10, thank you for the Super Chat, says, do it. Where are we at now? We're at $50. We're $50 away. $50 away. Cody Brandt says 50. He's counting Xavier. See, that's what they do to me on Tuesday night. They count Super Chats that came in 3 hours ago. But I'll say that's fair. Cody Brandt's $50 away. We'll watch the South Carolina video. JP, I know you want to talk about the offensive line. Then we'll wrap this thing up, get you out of here, let you go eat supper. Let's talk about this offensive line. You look at it. You're returning everybody except for Cade Mays, but you got a big question mark at that left tackle position.
Yep. Certainly do. I mean, it sounds like that Wright's moving back to right tackle. At least that's the plan. That's where he wants to go. So, I mean, by far, the biggest question mark, is it going to be Mincy? Is it going to be Crawford? Or is it going to be Dane Davis? And I just look at this offense and just think about how explosive that this offense was last year, and the fact that we still gave up 44 sacks. I mean, this offensive line doesn't have to be world beaters, but we have got to be able to find somebody that can play that left tackle position, and we've also got to get some depth there too, because injuries is always going to happen, especially on the offensive line with guys getting the ankles rolled up and, all those types of things, knees and so forth like that. So you've got to build that depth. So, that tackle position, in my opinion, is going to be the most important thing that you got to look for on the offensive side of the ball come fall camp. Hopefully one of those three guys can step up and take the bull by the horns and run with that starting position. But then, then you start looking inside, I mean, Carvin, what was his 5th year? You got Spraggins, who's, third year, but he's played all 3 seasons. And then you got Wright, who, had a really strong season last year. And a lot of people are saying that if he duplicates that and maybe improves slightly, that, there's a good chance that he could be a first-round draft pick next year. But the key to it is that center position. And, I know that it was talked about last year when Mays got hurt, that the offense didn't run as fast, that Carvin didn't, that he just wasn't accustomed to it, and he couldn't get the team lined up as fast and so forth like that. So I know that Mays has had an issue as far as his size and his strength, but something that I was thinking about the other day, and I haven't really seen anybody talk about this, but if I'm not mistaken, wasn't last year that Mays had surgery in the off season and he missed the entire winter workout season and spring practice last year?
Cooper,
Am I thinking that correct? Cooper Mays?
I can't remember the off season. I just remember that obviously he was banged up all during the regular season.
Yeah, I am almost positive that he had, I think it was a shoulder or something like that, that he was hurt. And I think that really stunted his development there. So I think with him being healthy and being able to go through a full winter of workouts and conditioning and getting stronger and bigger and so forth like that, I think Cooper Mays is going to take that step up this year. I think that he's going to be a better physical center for us. And if this offensive line can find a way to pass block better and find a way to, sustain their blocks and to get these guys, get this running game going, this offensive line or this entire offense is going to be awesome to watch.
Well, like you said, and this isn't an excuse at all, but the type of offense that Josh Heupel runs is hardest for an offensive lineman to play.
Oh, could you imagine?
So in year one, I don't think these guys were at peak physical and condition to run that. So I think their pass blocking suffered. I think we saw that they were good run blocking. And, like you said, you've got everybody but Mays returning, and there's potential that it is a much improved offense or offensive line. You have to think, though, you don't give up 3.5 sacks a game. How much better this offense could have been.
Yeah.
How many more plays or series they could have extended, kept the defense on the sidelines resting for a little bit longer, all these things. But that's why they play the games. We'll see.
I would be interested to go back and see how many of those sacks came in those losses.
Right.
Well, it reminds me of when Josh Dobbs was at Tennessee. His ability with his legs, and it was the same thing with Hendon Hooker. His ability with his leg, and even Joe Milton. I know he kind of shied away from contact, but he had the ability with his legs to extend plays. And how much worse would it have been? Everybody that loved Harrison Bailey, if he was just standing back there in the pocket, it would have been way worse. Way worse.
Yeah.
Let me. There's a ton of super chats. Let me catch up on these super chats real quick. Robert 45 Tennessee drops a 10, trying to rally the troops and stuff. G Smith for 5 says, "Let's go Vols." Wayne Starnes drops $20. Thank you, Wayne, for the super chat. Says, "Go Vols." Brad Burnett drops another 15 and says, "That's $100. Do it, Boogie. Stop talking about it and
Does
do
Brad
it."
Need to adopt a son or? Just saying,
He adopted me, JP.
Okay.
So get away, and leave him alone. Jeff Puckett for 20. Thank you for the $20 super chat. Says, "Here's an extra 20 for JP and Dauber to stay."
So you owe us. You owe us $10 a piece, Boogie.
No, wait a second. You should have rallied the troops for another 100, each of you. Like, we should have gone for 300. I dropped the ball. Dang it. I'm still learning. All right, that's okay. Here's the deal. There's 245 people watching live. If you don't like degeneracy, if you don't like YouTube battles and feuds, this is typically not my thing. I was asked to make a video today, and I made it, and it's created a whirlwind. My Twitter is blowing up all day. It is what it is. It's fine. I'm good with it. I don't care. I told somebody today, they said, "You're getting roasted on Twitter." I said, "I'm a grown man. I don't care what anybody on Twitter has to say. I do not care." Like, it doesn't.
Most of them are bots anyway, right?
Yeah. Elon Musk Confirmed.
Prove
I don't
that,
care.
yeah.
Now the YouTube channel is going to get shut down because I said Elon Musk. All right, here's the deal. That's going to include the offensive preview for 2022. David Speaks with $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Says we are going to reset offensive records again. I hope you're right, David. I hope you're right. OJ Mayo Film says we want degeneracy. Well, we're going to get into it. But I'm going to give JP and Dauber both the opportunity. If they want to bounce, they can bounce. I'm going to stay on. The video's only 5 minutes, so I'll watch it, pause it, provide commentary, have some fun with it. Guys, if you want to go, you can bounce. We'll be back next Wednesday at 7 o'clock for the defensive preview.
I haven't seen it. I have no idea what you're all even talking about. So
Okay, so do you guys, if you both want to stick around. Okay, here's what happened today. Cody sent me a message last night while we were playing NCAA and said there's a South Carolina fan out there that made a video about Tennessee football. You should take a look at it. You should respond to it. And I was like, that's typically not my style. I don't typically do that. I pulled up the video and watched it, and I was in disbelief. Like, this guy came out, and the title of the video was Tennessee football is a blank, blank, blank program. And I was like, okay. So I start watching it. He starts off the video by saying, no disrespect to the Tennessee fans. They're great fans, blah, blah, blah. 30 seconds later, he says, the Tennessee fans on Twitter are idiots. And I kind of went in on him, and I get it because most people on Twitter are idiots. But he compared Josh Heupel, called him a used car salesman, and said he was exactly like Butch Jones. And then he proceeded to make fun of him for his weight and for his looks. And I'm like, get a life. You're like a freaking child. Like, why are you talking about this? But the big one was, it was basically acting like South Carolina's football program was elite and Tennessee was way down here. And even in the video, he was like, Tennessee's only beat us 3 years in a row. It ain't that big of a deal. You guys know the longest winning streak for South Carolina against Tennessee? You want to take a guess how many times they beat Tennessee in a row? The longest winning streak for these idiots.
3
years. 3 years. But yet, it's not a big deal because Tennessee's beat them for 3 years. Overall record, Tennessee 28-10. It's 45-20 last year. That's all you got to look at. So basically, no, go ahead.
Sorry. No, I mean, I was just going to say, over the last 12 years, Tennessee's worst time period of football. I think we're 6-6 against them. So,
Yeah. And how much of that came from Steve Spurrier, right? And when you talk about tradition, and it's like Alabama and like Florida, like me and Dauber were talking about it before we went live. It's like, I can't sit here and say, well, they don't have tradition. They have owned us. They have whipped us. And yeah, Tennessee had some good moments against Alabama. Phil Fulmer owned Alabama. We had some good moments against Florida, some good 50-50 back and forth during the Fulmer era. But the bottom line is Florida's owned us, and so has Alabama, and I'm man enough to sit here and admit it. If you got kids in the room, you might want to put the women and children to bed because this clown can't complete a sentence without dropping an F-bomb. Maybe he can make it through it. We'll see what he has to say. All right, here we go. You guys paid for it. You deserved it. We'll see what's his name again? I already forgot his name. Let me make this smaller. What's his name? I want to at least give him credit. Carolina Jackpot. You can see he's got a ton of views in the hour that he's had this posted. He's got 37 views in an hour. Let's look at the comments. I love both of y'all's channels. I don't think it's soft to make a video defending your coach. If you dish it out, you got to be able to take it. That's why we're going to sit here and take it live on air. I don't even know what this dude's about to say. This guy says they got to admit the Little Debbie taste tester line was funny. Yeah, look at this guy. He's making fun of Josh Heupel saying that he should taste test Little Debbie's. I think he's had a couple of Little Debbie's. So have I, but I'm not sitting here calling people fat. It's the world we live in, whatever. Tom Reed, Vol and Bama fans are the softest in the SEC. Go Dogs, sick 'em. Oh, gosh, you said sick 'em in a sentence, you freaking reject. Dr. Vol, get ready for a 4th L in a row, big boy. Then he says, love talking Vols, but they can be pretty sensitive. Is that directed at me? Probably directed at me. Am I sensitive? Do you guys think I'm sensitive? Because I sit here every Tuesday night, and Brad tells me how stupid I am. I sit here every Tuesday night, and Dakota tells me my videos suck. It's fine, man. Like, I don't care. I don't care. We got Georgia fans, Florida fans, Alabama fans, everybody in this chat. Everybody's welcome. Just keep it civil. Let's have some fun conversations. MD VAWLS for 20. Thank you for the super chat. Says, let's see it, Boogie. Did I already read that one? I don't think so. I think that's an extra little tip there. We appreciate the $20. Let's get into it. Let's see what he has to say.
Hey, Boogie, right quick question though. Why does people have to video while they're driving? I've never understood that. You see that a lot. You need to start doing that, Boogie.
Well, it's funny because, the last dude that tried to make a name off of us, which I should have said that. This dude didn't try to make a name off of us. And all due respect to him. Like, he's putting content out there. Do your thing, man. Make that dime. Make that bag. I don't care. But the last dude that did try to make his name off of us was sitting in an 18-wheeler making videos. And no disrespect to anybody that drives a truck for a living, but he talked about our production being low-key. Meanwhile, he's sitting in his 18-wheeler on the job, like working his day job. It's like, what? Like, I don't know. I don't know why they sit in their car and make videos, but
anyway, sorry.
Upset and taffy soft Tennessee podcasters feature Carolina Jackpot. He was the main event draw. He was the main event draw, but I don't. We're not a podcast. It's a YouTube show, bro. It's a YouTube show. He must have been listening to the Indie Kid for the last freaking 12 months, and he thinks it's a podcast. All right, here we go. Let's see what he has to say. Like I said, put your women and children to bed. He's probably going to cuss a lot. Here we go.
Woo! What's going on, gang-a-lang? Ash Carolina Jackpot time coming at you. It is Wednesday.
What did he just say? I'm going to rewind it. I'm going to rewind it and catch that intro one more time. I may still. Let's see what he said.
Woo! What's going on, gang-a-lang? Ash Carolina Jackpot time coming at you.
Okay, hold on. Woo! What's going on, gang-a-lang? Talk about that work, Boo Bentley coming at you. Was that it? Was that pretty good?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Okay,
right
I thought it was good. Dakota says he works out of town all week. That's the thing, man. Like, and I'm having some fun with this. I legitimately invited this guy to come on the channel. I said it was perfectly fine. You're more than welcome to come on the channel. South Carolina week. It is what it is. A lot of our listeners actually like him. So let's see what he has to say. Here we go.
It is Wednesday afternoon. That also means it's July 13th, 2022. So yesterday afternoon, I just made a little impromptu video on the way from one job to the next. And I work so many jobs, I can't keep them all straight. And it was about the Tennessee fan base and me thinking that their coach, Josh Heupel, is a snake oil salesman and most likely Dabo 2.0.
A lot of people ask who the outro music's by. It's by the Snake Oil Salesman. So I want to give a shout out to the Gamecock here for plugging our intro and outro music. So thank you for that. I'm going to go ahead and guess here. I'm going to guess he says we're triggered, which is hilarious.
Did he say Dabo 2.0?
Yeah, that's our fans have been having a blast with that too because they said go ahead and bring us the national championship. We'll take them.
I think I take a couple of those right now.
We'll take them. Yeah, the chat's going nuts right now. Did he say Dabo 2.0? Amazing that a South Carolina fan hates Dabo and Tennessee. All right, let's let him get into it. I had to cut him off because it is what it is.
Dabo Light, excuse me, Butch Jones 2.0. This actually triggered the Tennessee fans who watched.
What did I tell you he was going to say? He said I was going to be triggered. I made a video that pulled twice the views of his in less than 60 minutes, and then I went about my day and didn't really think about it until somebody said, look at your Twitter feed. Holy cow, they were pissed.
Watch the channel, even triggered some that don't normally watch the channel, and I drew you in. Like honey does flies or something else does flies.
Thank you for not cussing. Thank you for not cussing. You provide great content. You make videos every day. Thank you for keeping it clean. For now.
Woo! Y'all have got to be the softest little bunch of fans I've ever seen in my life. In here, you started throwing pot shots at my weight.
Hold on a second, you freaking clown. Hold on a second, you freaking clown. You throw pot shots at Josh Heupel for his weight, and then people come back at you and say, maybe you're the one that's eating too many Twinkies. Maybe you're the one that's eating too many Little Debbies. So you don't get to play that game. You don't get a fat shame. You don't get to say, oh, you're talking about my weight. You call a man fat, and then people called you fat. Freaking grow up. Grow up, man. You started it. You don't get to play this game. That's not how the internet works, son. You don't get to call people fat and then get mad when people call you fat. Who's sensitive?
Don't dish it if you can't take it.
Yes. You don't get to play that game. Oh, my gosh, the lies. Oh, they came and called me fat after you called a grown man fat. You started that, man. You got it. You created this. I didn't call you fat. You're going to make a video about me. I didn't call you fat. I'm fat. I'm fine with it. I'm comfortable with it. It's good. But I don't call other people fat. It might upset them. Might hurt somebody's feelings. I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings. I'm not calling anybody fat. You are.
1-point shots at my waistline and whatnot because I made fun of Josh Heupel and say he looked like the little Debbie.
Isn't it funny? Okay, isn't it funny how it's like, you calling me fat? Oh, because I called this man fat and he said he ate Little Debbie's and I said he ate Twinkies. And come on, get out of here. Freaking grow up. Grow up. Get out of your car.
Snack cake taste tester. Well, he does. And I never said I wasn't fat. So you haven't insulted me. I just insulted him. And then you thought you insulted me. So you thought you got one over on Carolina.
Does any of this make sense? They insulted me about my weight, and then they thought they insulted me about my weight, but they didn't insult me about my weight. What is this man doing? JP, what do you think so far? How far are we into this? We're a minute and a half into this. I want to know what JP thinks about this guy.
I mean, this is the first time I've ever seen this guy, so I have no idea, honestly, still what he's talking about. I mean, I guess that he made a video about Josh Heupel or Tennessee, and people started roasting him, so he makes another video trying to feel sorry for himself and want people to feel sorry for him because people started talking about him, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
it's the way the internet works, and I'll just say this: I'm having fun with it because you guys dropped off the bag of cash, and you guys wanted to see it. So I'm gonna watch it, and this will be the last interaction I have with him, unless he wants to be civil and come on and hang out. It's all good. We can do that. But I'm done with this guy. I'm not into the back and forth YouTube video thing. I just want to cover Tennessee football, but I thought I would have some fun with it tonight. So let's see what he has to say.
Jackpot, but you really didn't. I got one over on you guys. Got you all mad. Got you in your feelings. Got your jimmies ruffled, and then you go.
Can I ask a question? Is anybody mad? Is anybody in the chat mad? Is anybody on the panel mad? Like, nobody's mad.
Hey,
Nobody's mad.
I'm not mad at no South Carolina fan for sure.
Share it off, and guess what? I'm the subject of the 3 goons that are on the thumbnail up here, the Talkin VAWLS podcast. Talkin VAWLS podcast. What is this garbage?
See, it's called genius. It's called genius, Jackpot. It's called genius because when you change the letters, when you change the way it's spelled, you can make a whole lot of cash selling merchandise, but you wouldn't know anything about that.
I can't believe that they got all 3 of them there on a screen together. Last time I heard, they were streaming their internet stuff through 2 soup cans and a tip string. But what? I don't know. I guess they have evolved, ever since they had that big winning season last year.
Says the guy who is driving in his car with boxes in the back seat. He's talking about our internet connection. This is embarrassing. I don't even know if I want to finish it, but I have to because they paid for it.
Here, knock it off my Gamecocks. Took us to the woodshed a little bit. Lost their bowl game though. But they played Alabama close for a while. Threw some mustard bottles around last year. Threw the football around a little bit. Caught it some.
Threw it all over your ass.
Scored a lot of touchdowns. Scored a lot of points. Gave up a lot of points. But
not to you.
Their program is back. They're relevant. One of them actually told me today. We're going back and forth. And this is what I like. This is what the Carolina.
Isn't this funny? He's saying one of them as if it's you put Talkin VAWLS name in your mouth and then you say one of them. JP Dauber, did either one of you know about this until about 20 minutes ago?
Nope.
I don't know. I've never seen this guy. I have no idea.
I didn't leave a single comment. I've not interacted with this guy other than in our comment section when he commented, and I said, nobody's butthurt. Man, you're more than welcome to come on the show. That's the interaction I've had. But he is going to lump in anybody that commented on his video as being part of Talkin VAWLS. So, gosh, let's get this over with. This is embarrassing for him.
Jackpot channel started out as when I started doing my college football content on here. And, recently I've become old, lovable, huggable Carolina Jackpot. Well, Carolina Jackpot is kind of, right now taking a little bit of a heel turn. Because fuck Tennessee.
There
fuck
it is.
Your stupid fan base.
There it is.
You're damn delusional as shit. Okay? Are you going to beat the Gamecocks in Williams-Brice in November? No, you're not.
We're delusional. We're delusional.
Is it possible that you could? It's possible, but
Says the team coming off of a 3-game losing streak. A 3-game losing streak. JP, comment.
Boogie, the day that you make a video trying to defend yourself against South Carolina football is the day that I'll be like, I don't think I can do this Talking Balls podcast no more.
That's what I did today. That's what's caused all this. It's my fault. It's my fault.
Are you going to? No. But you might.
But you might.
I understand that he's a fan of South Carolina. I understand it. But my goodness, again, in the worst decade plus of Tennessee football in the history of the program, and they're 500 against us. Two of the last 3 losses in this 3-year losing streak was to Jeremy Pruitt.
Yeah.
But
that's the thing, and that's what I kept seeing
I'm
on
sure
Twitter.
That Carolina Jackpot's a good old feller.
Probably.
He is a good old feller. He's just a fan, but maybe this will get him a few views, and his channel will take off, and he can sit around, and every time they score, he can crow like a rooster or whatever. I don't know.
Innocent Culprit says Boogie is the Paul Heyman of sports talk. I don't know if that's the case. David Bills for 10. Thank you for the super chat. Said you cut the live stream footage to this part and then post it without the initial live stream as its own video so we can go like and comment on it and so he can see it and start a little back and forth. That's not my style. I appreciate the super chat, David. That's not my style. I'm only doing this because Cody messaged me and it's kind of part of what's going on today. This is not my typical style. What this dude's doing. Look, this is what he's doing. The bottom line is he just said it. I'm taking a little bit of a heel turn. He is going to try to be South Carolina's version of Uncle Lou. That's what he's doing. What we typically do here, and this is my fault for getting into this mess today, we want to cover Tennessee football. We want to cover recruiting. We want to cover the transfer portal. We want to cover post-game and interact with you guys. This is my fault for getting into it, but some of you guys are having fun with it, so occasionally it's okay, but it's not typically something that I want to do. It's like when the dude sitting in his 18-wheeler made the video about us. I just let it go and ignored it. It is what it is.
But we welcome anybody to come on.
Yes.
And have.
Well, he was in the live chat earlier, wasn't he?
Yeah. Yeah. But he doesn't want to come live on air. He wants to make his videos so he can get his views. And again, I showed you how many views he had. The dude has he has like 10,000 views or 10,000 subscribers, but people don't watch his stuff. And it is what it is. It is what it is.
He's just trying to get a reaction. This to me is more like almost like comedy,
Yeah.
It's
satire.
Like a parody.
Satire.
Yeah. Satire. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's probably a really good dude.
He is. And it's just like Uncle Lou. Like so many people say, you got to get Uncle Lou on the channel. If I don't know what Uncle Lou's real name is, but whatever that dude's real name is, I guarantee you if he came and sat on the back deck with the 3 of us and cracked open a beer, he'd probably be a great dude. But when he gets on the internet, he's trying to portray a character. Yeah, and that's not really what we do here. Sure, we dial it up and I yell and scream and like we have some fun.
You yell and scream all the time.
Yeah, but I'm not attacking people. You know what I mean? Yeah, Wayne says it's clickbait. I'm not attacking people. That's not really what we try to do here. But, sometimes I get carried away, and that's what happened today. Hey, look, I had nothing else to talk about today. Cody wanted me to talk about it, so that's what we did. David Bills for another 5. Thank you, David. Love the channel videos. Love your style. Like his stuff, too. May bring more fans to see VAWLS handling the haters. It gets exhausting sometimes, David. Appreciate the super chat. Like I said, Carolina Jackpot, I'm still not against having him on the channel. Somebody clip that. Somebody clip it and say, I get what he's doing. If he wants to come on the channel South Carolina week, we'll do a tailgate show and have old Carolina Jackpot driving around in his car while me, Dauber, and JP sit in our office and have a little conversation. It'll be good fun. Let's Wayne says, can you make those noises again? Hooty head, howdy head, howdy head. That's what I do sometimes. I get excited and yell. Let's wrap this thing up, see what he has to say these last couple of minutes. Maybe he won't drop any more F-bombs, but I doubt it.
I don't think it's happening. And, you think we're winning. You're winning double-digit games this year. Think we're doing all this. We're going to do all that. Hendon Ho for Heisman.
So classy. So classy.
This running back you got, this Jabari Smalls, who's replacing the.
Did you guys know we had a running back named Jabari Smalls? And did you know that he was new? Because I didn't know either one of those things. Didn't know either one of those things. Interesting.
Evans kid who flunked out of school ended up at Louisville.
Now let's make fun of 20-year-old kids. That's great. That's great. That's great.
Y'all are right. Oh, it's all right though, because he's a dark horse Heisman candidate. He's gonna blow open holes like you ain't never seen before. That Josh Heupel offense. Just a bunch of this right here. A bunch of running your mouth. Then you talk about Spencer Rattler at South Carolina. You want to run him down. Say, well, he did you look at what he did? He was a bust at Oklahoma. Okay, did you idiots even watch football in 2020?
See, I don't know if I can finish this because this is a dude that's forming a narrative that has nothing to do with any of us.
Right.
Like, I'm on record of saying that I'm concerned about Spencer Rattler because I think if you get a dialed-in, focused Spencer Rattler, I think that's a dude that could make South Carolina a tough ball game. I've said for the last 6 months that South Carolina game scares me. Like, I'm not sitting here hating on Spencer Rattler. They added a lot of weapons on offense in the transfer portal. So this dude can yell and scream and say they said this and they said that and they said the other. Never said any of that. Like I legitimately think Spencer Rattler was a nice pickup for them. And I know a lot of people hate on him because of the Netflix stuff, the stuff that went down at Oklahoma. But if he comes to South Carolina and he keeps his head on straight, that could be a tough ball game. I think that game could be a toss-up, man. I legitimately do. But this dude wants to yell and scream and make accusations. But
he's definitely an athlete, and he had signs of a very high ceiling at Oklahoma. But the thing that, like you said, the Netflix deal, and then all the stuff that happened at Oklahoma. Is that going to change going to South Carolina and playing in the SEC? You know, that's to be seen.
Yep. But you can't count the kid out. I mean, he's got talent.
Right.
Got talent and athleticism. So, yeah, this video is losing a lot of it's the typical YouTube battle of I yell and scream into the microphone. Yeah, I don't provide any substance. Whereas I watched his video and I provided substance. And I said, okay, he says that Tennessee's irrelevant compared to South Carolina. Here's why I disagree. Then what the reason I made the video was him comparing Josh Heupel to Butch Jones, because Josh Heupel is the complete opposite of Butch Jones. Butch Jones was a used car salesman, whereas I think Josh Heupel, you know, and I said this in the video I made earlier, and if you guys want full context, you can go back, watch the video. I play his first full video. It was dropped earlier today. You guys can go back and check it out. But Josh Heupel came in and listened. Josh Heupel came in and said, what can I do for you? And that's what a leader does. You know, a manager comes in and says, this is what you're going to do. A leader comes in and says, what can I do for you? A leader serves. That's what a leader does. All right, let's hear more of the Raging Lunatic.
Hey, Boogie.
You watch football in 2020?
What?
Yeah, terrible year.
Hey, I've got to run. I got to go get some gas with my dad for the lawnmowers.
Good deal. Go ahead and bounce. You worked overtime anyway. You can bounce. Me and Darby will wrap it up. We'll be back next Wednesday, 7 o'clock for defensive preview, and hopefully no yelling at any other YouTubers. Thanks for hanging out as long as you did, JP.
Yeah, I appreciate everybody. Thank y'all. See y'all.
All right. Later, buddy.
Later, buddy.
All right, let's wrap this thing up. Kyle Beach says this dude's a joke, just like South Carolina. Ryan Clayton talking about you can watch this guy watching the 2021 Tennessee-South Carolina game live. He was about to tear his house apart after we put – see, that's Uncle Lou stuff. That's Uncle Lou stuff. That's the pissed-off Vol fan dude that went off on us. That's what they do. They try to do clickbait, viral, insane videos so people watch it. And it's fine. Like, I hope you get rich. I hope you make $1 million. I prefer for me and my buddies to come on here and talk about Tennessee football and have a good time.
We try to keep it as real as can be.
Yeah, like it's like the conversations we have on air are the same conversation we would be having off air. It's the exact same. What you see is what you get. What's up, Mayhem Matthew? I see you. I see you're a Dogs fan. It's all good, man. You can hang out. You can talk football, or you can insult us and go away. Like, the choice is yours, man. Well, I got all kinds of Georgia fans that hang out, Florida fans, Alabama fans. You're welcome here, but if you're going to be an idiot, we'll just kick you and we'll move on, because that's That's not what we're here to do. Let's hear the last minute of this nonsense.
Last year, got benched, got pissed about it, left. It happens. Y'all act like he was the only individual who ever do such a damn thing. Guess what? He ain't. He ain't. He had a bad year. He left. That was on him. Lincoln Riley, toxic environment. Thank God, got him out of there. And now he's with Coach Beamer. And he's going to mold this kid into the superstar that he's destined to be. I mean, because he's got all the damn talent in the world. Has all the talent in the world. You want to talk about it overrated. He couldn't do nothing against them. He couldn't do nothing against them Big 12 defenses. If you ever looked at your defense, your defense gave up almost $800 to Purdue.
Held you to 20 points and beat the brakes off of you, 45-20. 45-20.
Hey, so don't tell us about Big 12 defenses being terrible. Your own defense is terrible. God almighty. But anyway, these talking balls, they got on there, and they're running their mouth about Carolina Jackpot a little bit, which is fine. I mean, this is all in good fun, I guess. But
see, he's coming around a little. He's starting to break character right there. He's starting to break character, and you're seeing the real dude a little bit because he can't think of what to say next. He can't think about how to be mean enough next or how to insult somebody next, and you're seeing the old Baldy's soft little grin coming through. I like it.
Yeah, it is what it is, and I'm glad that I drew your ire a little bit. I'm glad that I made you salty, and I'm glad that you're still as sharp and soft as I always remember you.
Oh, what a tough guy.
I'll see y'all later. Appreciate it. Peace.
What a tough guy. I love an internet guy that flips a middle finger. Just so tough. So
Super
tough.
Classy.
Yeah, classy, tough. I don't know any other better way to. Isn't it funny? It's like you see the real dude coming around. And he's like, oh, I got to wrap this thing up by being hard and flip people off. You guys asked for it. You guys got it. That was kind of disappointing. Like, it was nothing. Like, he didn't say anything accurate about us. And I would imagine that before today, he didn't know anything about us, which I didn't know anything about him until Cody messaged me. So there you go. You guys paid for it. This is what you asked for. This is what you got. We'll be back next Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern time, and we'll go live covering the defense. I'll be live Tuesday breaking down. Or no, wait. He's got me confused. Tuesday playing video games like a dork. And, yeah, Buck wants his $100 back. I'll refund you, Buck. I'll send you a refund immediately. Next week is also SEC Media Days. I think that's Thursday. Josh Apple speaks to the media. I'm going to do a live stream that night, talk about it. If JP, Dauber, Snake, anybody wants to jump on, more than welcome. But I'm going to jump on Thursday night and break it down, talk about it, get into it. But that's going to wrap it up for this one. He's Dauber. I'm Boogie Bentley. JP's going to get gas for the lawnmower. Thank you guys for hanging out for almost 2 hours. You guys always show up, show love. Go check out the merchandise. Join the channel. Get in where you fit in. That's going to do it. This is the Talkin' VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.
That we chose.